Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our Global TV Deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how
Run, keep going on, let's process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So just as I and I as a watching man around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Hey, oh, we gotta bust down Babylon walls. Prepare the way. Prepare the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down war and crime. Fight down war and crime. Rastafari. War and crime. And do the righteousness. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. Jah Rastafari. Yeah, we love Jah. We love Jah. Jah Rastafari. We love Jah. Jah Rastafari. Preserve all people. Put time away. Put time away again. Listen. Yeah. So just as I and I as a watching man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace while we penalize. Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare the way. Prepare the way for Jah Rastafari. Fight down war and crime. Rastafari, war and crime, and build up righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah, Rastafari, preserve all. And we love Jah, me love Jah, me love Jah, Rastafari, preserve all. Me love Jah. Rastafari. Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight. Oh, thy peace, the God of my salvation. Oh, thy peace, the God of my salvation. Because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is open. Rastafari. Man throw one stone and it break a bad feeling to all wicked men. That's a people there. Make a man throw one stone and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak, wicked men would I hear. Hear now hear. They only sit aside a rob and cheat and not first and for make out what I seen to make him a throw and stone and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. My favorite man, if Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the day them can sell out Rasta, can't sell it out, I sell out Babylon. Big man throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Big man throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. If Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the dead and can sell out Rasta, I sell out, I sell out Babylon. Just stop on the Friday. You might throw a stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black thing. You might throw a stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. You have eyes to see, let him see. You have ears to hear, let them hear. What a prophet must say. President Mandela was in prison for 20 odd years. And he leave from the prison and take the seat of the president. Stone one. Big man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what's a black big man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Rasta man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We are going to look at the Prime Minister's violation in relation to the powers under the Emergency Powers Act, and under the DRMA, or whatever the acronym is. And the Human Rights Shadow Minister is very, very silent. That robust attorney, that human rights attorney, is rather silent. One thing you must know about politicians, whatever they rant and rave and tant and bore about, when they sign their version of the oath of hypocrisy, when they take that oath in Parliament, it's no longer business as usual. They are not the person who was on the campaign. They are not the person who you expect them to be. They are not what you expect of them. Their promises slowly fade away and only resurrected at another general election. Good evening and welcome, one and all. Thank you for joining us this evening. To my community of party and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, dear subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good evening. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're going to also respond to the Prime Minister and the issue. Remember the Prime Minister tell us the JDF not have the capability, and him did this and him did that at only 5 or 6 aircraft. Them have me not to remember what me do with the clip. But But I think of this one, But me going to tell you where how him a violate. Hmm? I'm going to tell you how he's violating. Because if it was about giving him more power to use against us rather than use in our interests, the Prime Minister would certainly deploy those powers. Why is the human rights attorney, the human rights shadow minister, silent? Melvin Spence, because I know we have to give everybody a name over here. Melvin Spence, that madman with the dolly in the pushchair? I started upon the roll call tonight. Melvin Spence, the shadow human rights minister, spokesman, or whatever the title is. How Isaac Buchanan so silent? Isaac Buchanan ain't a human rights champion in our country anymore. The only human rights violation what we are see in the whole of Melissa wranglings. Una heard anything from Isaac championing the human rights of the people in the disaster zone? Hmm? Even the recent conference where Mark Golden them can come with the flagrant human rights abuse and violation going on taking place by this government in the relief and rescue effort. You know, feel so the human rights spokesman should have been a part of that conference. Is there an official address from Isaac Buchanan in relation to human rights since this whole disaster brew? Yes, once he was at one of the press conference, but more so it was about speaking about his constituency. But they have been given a portfolio. Hmm? They have been given a portfolio, and is what we send them to government for, to speak out on these issues, to highlight them. But as a human rights champion, me not hear anything tangible coming from ISAT when it comes to the human rights abuse. The extra 14 what we get the PNP, me not feel the effects of it. I don't know who's really feeling the effects of the 14, the extra 14. I'm not. Sharon Bernard, how are you? Good evening. Colleen, good evening and welcome. Jamrack 8766. Then Miles, good evening. Charlotte Graham, Debian Duncan, Canadian Gal, Sophia Hall, Marcia Thomas, Laverne, Agency. Jaiba, where you had to up them time of night, your agency? Where you had to up them time of night, you must sleep and wake, you sleep and wake already. But we're not being served because from PNP signed on the dotted line and take the oath. From them signed on the dotted line and take the oath, not a soul can hear about them again. Everybody turn Juliet Holness yard boy. If anyone knows the Melvin Spence, wanna tell Melvin that there's human right practice in a Western Jamaica. Something we haven't heard him address. Let me tell you something about the Prime Minister. Is it this video? Let me see if we can irritate him a bit. Hold on there. Hold on there. Hold on. Me nothing of that. But anyway, I don't know the excuse for wholeness gives because a Ungo 6 JDF captor we have. Hold on. Hold on.
Even so, The JDF, Mr. Speaker, is still packaging, has the capability to package 10,000 packages and send them out. And that's what they do constantly. They have a list of communities, along with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, where every day they are out there giving. Nobody's out there taking pictures with them and saying how great they are doing. But let's think about it. 900,000 people affected. About 40,000 houses flattened. Just multiply that by 3. Let's say 150,000 persons have been impacted. You believe that, you know...
Right. This is where I want to tackle the Prime Minister on this figure, because the Prime Minister keep doing the nuclear family counting. And with the nuclear family counting, Prime Minister, what Jamaica don't have, we now capture the amount of people that is devastated by Melissa. Similarly as well, Andrew Holness, when uno do the food, the care packages, uno pack them for a family of 4 to last for 3 days. Jamaica don't have much of that nuclear family, Prime Minister. It's a family of parents and 2 children in Jamaica is not a very, very common thing. And this is why what the government keep doing. And one, we will not serve the amount of people affected because of the government warped way of counting 3 or 4 members per household. It's not like that in our country. Thereby, the people who needs the support won't be adequately served because the government you limit a household down to a family of 3 or 4. That's my understanding. Maybe I don't know some dunce when it come to number, so that I couldn't get right. But that's my understanding. We may get from the Prime Minister.
One organization here delivering package and one day it's going to solve that problem. How long they're going to do it for? What will have to be stood up to be able to carry this through for months? So we have to be strategic. Build out the hubs, which we have done. Then we build out substations, which we have done. And that logistics hub, which move food through to stations, and then logistics hub is going to move building materials to hubs and then into people. In the weeks to come, you're going to see the JDF transition from delivering packages. They will still have a presence, but they're going to transition now to help in the rebuilding of the houses for those people who are most in need. When this is studied, as it will be studied, when the history book is written, our response compared to others. And
this is not the video clip. They must not have that one. To everyone on the other side of the Atlantic who celebrated your Thanksgiving and is in the mood, still the mood of your Thanksgiving celebration. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. Hope you had a memorable day with families and friends, and as well as reflecting on the devastation that our people are facing at home. But I think we all know what I'm referring to. When the Prime Minister was in Parliament on Tuesday, during his rant and rave and tantam board, he said, I don't like to talk about the capability of the JDF, you know. But the JDF have, I think he said, a 5 or 6 helicopter. And how could you be able to divide that logistic between so much people, over so much different areas of the disaster zone? Now, I've told you before what the Prime Minister could have done during that period. The Prime Minister had the power to do so because the DRMA and the Emergency Powers Act, what do you act name again? gives the Prime Minister the power to do certain things, which we will look at. Hold on there. Hold on, you hold on. But Andrew never seemed to have an interest in exercising his powers in the interest of the people of Jamaica, because he is more concerned about exercising his power when it's about taking away our powers. Hold on there. Globalists, me document them last. Murder she wrote. You hold on there. You hold on. But the government have certain powers and duties under those powers to act in a disaster. Why Andrew Holness refused to do certain things that was demanded in this situation? Debbie Jervis, welcome. How you do? How is your Thanksgiving? How was it all? I want my document there. Oh dear. Wanna bear with me, I go find it back. Anytime you see me up on your phone and read whole day, when you come there in time and I can't see nothing, you know. Can't see a thing. Okay, this is the one that I'm looking for. Now, under the Emergency Powers Act, and the, you know, the one the Holness always use as bad man overweight, the Disaster Risk Management Act, DRMA, yeah, the act there. Now, man, all you do. And you have powers under that act that Andrew failed to use, and thereby the government is in violation of such. And we don't hear anything from Melvin Spence, the human rights attorney, the human rights spokesman. Nothing, not a word from Melvin Spence. Under a natural disaster, the Jamaican government can declare a period of public emergency or a disaster area or a threatened area, which grants the Governor General and the Prime Minister significant power to manage the response and secure essential services. A public emergency can be declared by the Governor General if satisfied that a calamity such as earthquake, hurricane, flood, fire, or infectious disease outbreak has occurred. The Prime Minister, acting on advice of the Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, (ODPEM), can issue an order under the Disaster Risk Management Act. And here are some key powers given to the government under the Act. Here are some of the powers which the government have under the Act, and what powers, for that matter, should the government invoke in a time like now. So one of the areas, once a state of emergency or a disaster area is declared, the authority can make regulation to secure essential of life for the community, these powers include: one, securing and regulating supplies. Because, after a disaster, food and water, fuel, light, medicine, and water, and all of that becomes necessary. So that's one of the power they have. Another of the power the government have is maintaining infrastructure, meaning our hospitals or water or lighting system or telephone system or transportation system and all of that. Those are another set of the power the government have. Now we get to one of the very important part of this power that the government should have and have failed to use, and thereby in violation, rather than the government coming to parliament giving excuse as to, oh, because of the JDF capability and this and that. No, there are things that they are permitted to do. A part of the power given to the government is taking possession of property. That's a broad, what's you might call it? That's a broad sweeping power. Now, in such a disaster, a government and its think tank would be targeted in the taking of property, and I'll explain how this works. Given the severity of the disaster and that we had a massive problem moving by ground and people needs to be evacuated, airlifted, sick people, dead body, and so on. Now, the government excuse in saying that the JDF didn't have enough. Oh, God. The Prime Minister said the JDF, Alfonso, your comment made me laugh. The government is saying the JDF lacked the capacity. What happened to what happened to the captain would drop the container over Hillshire Prime Minister? Now, in this power here, when it comes to taking possession of property, let me tell you what it says here and explain it to you further. The government can authorize the taking of possession or control of any property or undertaking, and that acquisition of any property other than land on behalf of the crown. Now, what that does, like private people in Jamaica who have helicopters, under this power, as I've told you before, the Prime Minister could commandeer the use of their helicopters. Any private any private facility and property that would allow the government to deal more effectively with the disaster, the government can take possession of your property. Such as if the police is carrying out a trace, in certain instance, a police can commandeer your vehicle to do their job in certain circumstances. So the government have the power, or if the government is saying to us, we don't know if who in the country have private helicopter or not, then that would be shocking and worrying at the same time. But this gives the government power. Now, when it comes to, we're going to get to the mandatory evacuation bit, but let me tie it with this here. Now, in relation to what has happened in the disaster zone and the calamity of disaster, outbreak, homelessness, displacement, and all of that, if you have a piece of land, the government can for that moment, set up a relief tent or a tent city on it to temporarily deal with the situation until the disaster is over. And your wholeness under the Disaster Risk Management and the Emergency Powers Act could have done those things. So that's one of the key violations of the Prime Minister in relation to the Disaster Risk Management Act and the powers that he could have exercised in the first 48, 72 hours to a week of Melissa. The Prime Minister have that power to commandeer those people with private helicopter to get the job done. So they make Andrew come a parliament come fool, you know, because when they slut from the World Bank come at the bully podium, Andrew Holness stand up there and tell we say the investment in the JDF pay off. Until we say the investment in the JDF pay off. Right. Entering and searching premises. Now, this wouldn't be relevant for this scenario unless there is a breakdown of law and order. So that wouldn't be so relevant at this time unless you go got the politician them house and the people them over out at airport house go search for the things with them thief out of people barrel and container and suitcase. But other than that, this part wouldn't be necessary for the government to invoke. Another critical violation of this power is mandatory evacuation. And I'm not talking about the mandatory evacuation before the disaster, the mandatory evacuation after the disaster. Mandatory evacuation, the Prime Minister can issue mandatory evacuation order for a specific vulnerable community, as was done during Hurricane Melissa. What that does, given the severity of the destruction after Melissa, the displacement, the homelessness, and the pending disease outbreak, the government is under duty to mandate an evacuation to remove the people to protect a pending public health disaster. Something that we are in now, because we see more and more the death toll when it comes to leptospirosis is rising. So Andrew Holness, when Andrew Holness did want to take our rights in a COVID, it's these same powers that the Prime Minister used against us. It was these same powers that the Prime Minister used against us in a COVID. But when it comes to using them your power you know to help we, you don't see the Prime Minister in a wonderland, all of them confused and don't know what them are do. You don't notice? Amending and suspending laws. This is something that you heard Zara Burton spoke about in the press conference when Zara Burton asked the government if they can, come to the parliament with emergency legislation to relax the rules within the Integrity Commission Act and the Access to Information Act, where it bars us from getting certain quarterly information at the moment when it comes to government's contract and public spending and all of that. Dana Dixon said they're not enough time for them something now, but the DRMA and the emergency powers allows them to do those emergency regulation, and that would support the framework of accountability and all of that, which everybody is asking for. But the government has no interest in doing that. So, Andrew, invoking the Disaster Risk Management Act, he only uses it when it benefits him. Another power under the disaster risk management is the detention and deportation. Leave out the deportation part of it, but the detention part of it, we saw where the Prime Minister uses that, even though that is not relevant to this situation, but to show you how he picks and chooses what and where to use. Because during COVID, the detention part of the powers were used against us. Whereas the mandatory evacuation and the taking and control of property, which could have assisted in the search and rescue, the evacuation, and all of that, the Prime Minister have not invoked those powers. I tell you, one of the powers that the Prime Minister invoked that is quite necessarily under this order is the power of curfew. You know the Tanaya Galangin, even though Melissa leave you without a house to go into. Yeah. Those are the powers that the Prime Minister tend to use when it comes to the act, but not to use it in order to benefit the people. So you see the government farming new galangin for reconstruction and all of that jazz where boy me don't know how it a go at this moment. Now the international community, they can sus behind Andrew, regardless of what they're giving, but because of diplomacy and all of that, none of them will come to the fore and say anything publicly, nor will they give Andrew any instruction. When such a disaster happens, the country's government lead on these issues. Everybody else work with you as a partner, but however badly or horrible you want to lead the effort, the international community will allow you to do so. And we are seeing it right in front of us. But the prime responsibility of Andrew Holness in the aftermath of such a disaster is to organize, coordinate, and implement humanitarian assistance. That ought to be the Prime Minister's prime focus. The Prime Minister, under those powers, have a duty to protect your human rights. Some of the basics are food, water, and shelter. And your health needs met. The government is in violation of all of these. But then when we talk, them say it's politics. The government is under humanitarian violation. And Melvin Spence is silenced. The government don't appoint somebody on the issue of human rights. But the PNP appoints someone to speak on human rights in our country. But from the human rights abuse of 4 weeks ago, we don't hear much from Melvin Spence. Why is Isaac Buchanan so silent? Why is the PNP so silent? And why is Jamaica not taking up things in their hand if there is nobody to stand up for us or stand up with us. But a fool no fault. A fool no fault. Look how they gathering was big where there. Where's the Asgore when you're the Prime Minister? It's Prime Minister only to collect and put up because he don't want to spend. The Prime Minister said no ad pen money not spend yet. Them a go through the long grass of kicking the ball down the road before anything happen. Why is Jamaica people not getting up and taking charge and control? The PNP sign on the dotted line. The PNP signed to stay quiet. The PNP signed to be subdued. We can't leave it to them alone. The 28 is no more effective than the 14. Because when Jolette tell the 28 to sit down, the 28 sit down. We had critical questions to ask before the hurricane. We never get to ask them. We have critical questions after the hurricane, and we can't get to ask them. But still, the PNP, who we thought were going to be robust in Parliament, is as quiet as a lamb. So they sign a Hippocratic oath. Them not care about we anymore. Isaac was a human rights champion for everything. Isaac was a human rights champion during COVID. Where is Isaac Buchanan now? On the human rights abuse and violations of this government. We don't stay so quiet. We believe so, not agree with them. We don't stay so quiet. We believe on a hand way over to them. We elected you all to stand up for us. But see there now. See there now, not a soul. Not a soul there to stand. As Juliet says, sit down, or not sit down. The hypocrisy of the PNP. When it was politically expedient for them, they led the nation in protests. When it was politically expedient for the PNP, they led the nation in protests. But when Andrew killed we off with hunger and disease, the press conference alone now go help. Because uno still support the monster. Uno vote along with the monster. Uno sit down in a parliament with the monster. Uno look like uno have a lovey-dovey affair with the monster in a parliament. The people of Jamaica has not been served by Labour Rights or PNP. The people of Jamaica is not being served neither by Labour Rights or PNP. Only we in a disaster zone. I go stay in a hit for a very long while because we know our political representative. We know that they only need to give we a little belly full and get all of what we have. We know them give we a belly full and take away power. Look how the election campaign, big way both Labour and PNP. Where are all these people now? Where are all these people now? A 63 constituency and I think about 16 badly affected. Nobody don't care other than power and money. Both politicians and the peasants in Jamaica. It's all about power and money. And some of the Jamaicans don't want nothing. As long as you're a big man, all right, and a big man can buy a KFC or a shot of rum. Some of the Jamaicans don't want anything. This is why our government can collect hundreds of plane load of resources. And to date, you still can't see Jamaicans benefiting from them. Hundreds of plane load. And to date, Jamaicans now benefit from it. But it's the people's fault. Don't trust the PNP, don't have no confidence in them. Me just think there maybe would be a little better humanity with them dealing with this relief effort. But the whole of them sign up for the devil with the devil. So whatever the devil instruct them to do, they would have done it. But Jamaica people, you need to wake up. You know, I was of the view that something terrible is going to happen in our country that shocks the psyche of the people. Because when you live in a country where murder happens so frequently, the killing of children, the kidnapping of children, the abuse of women, the people become desensitized to these things. I honestly though would have thought something like Melissa would have shocked the psyche of the people, especially the government response or lack thereof. The government response or lack thereof would have shocked the psyche of the Jamaica people to really show us that government gives a fuck who we vote for as long as they are in power. And what I'm seeing across social media is the political divide is been deepening. Because a lot of labor rights are of the view that Andrew Holness should only cater to labor rights in this thing. A lot of labor rights are Andrew mash up their house where Andrew. It's our taxpayers' money. A part of the DRMA power and the NRRA where Andrew designed to deal with the reconstruction. The government is under a duty to assist with housing reconstruction and rebuilding. It's because we have a crooked, corrupt government who all of the money end up in a them pocket rather than serving the people. It is why things like that do not happen, or we do not expect them to happen, because the money more likely ended up in somebody else's back pocket before it gets into. But Andrew got turn Paul Biya pan Uno. Paul Biya is ruling Cameroon until he dies. And Andrew Holness is setting up himself to rule Jamaica until he dies. And I'll tell you why. Look at how they are using the donor relief that was sent into the country, where you have government senators and all sorts going around using the relief to make a political name. What that is saying to the hungry belly voters, the voters who is okay to vote for KFC or $5,000, what that message is at the next general election campaign to those voters, PNP leave one of it dead in a Melissa. PNP never do nothing for Uno in a Melissa. So this is why the labor rights them going round and cherry picking their supporters to give support to, leaving the People's National Party supporter unsupported, and then they starve the political representative of the resources. And then now, when it comes general election, what they're going to campaign and tell you is that the PNP leave for dead, them never care about. Why you think Westmoreland was treated like that in the immediate aftermath? Why you think Westmoreland was treated like that in the immediate aftermath? Why you think Hanover is being treated the way Hanover is being treated? See where Andrew got turn in a pound here. If you don't be careful, Jamaica, this is what is coming to you all if you don't be careful.
So how does Bia win every time? Because he controls the game. The Election Commission is headed by his ally, so the game is rigged in his favor. His name is Paul Bia. And guess how old he is? 92 years. He is older than the atomic bomb, older than space travel, older than the United Nations, and of course, the computer and the internet. Plus, he's been president since 1982. Millennial, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, it doesn't matter. Everyone was born under President Bia. But he's not done yet. So he could be president until 99 years of age. 1/3 of the country lives on less than $2 a day. Corruption is rampant and security is fleeting. So how does Bia win every time? Because he controls the game. The Election Commission is headed by his ally, so the game is...
Cameroon, the country where I plan to retire to, is ruled by a dead man. Did you hear what I said? Cameroon, the country that I decided to retire to when I depend Zimmer frame, is ruled by a dead man. And this is where Andrew Holness is going with it. You don't understand it. The subliminal message from the Prime Minister and his crutchments. We will not surrender Jamaica to the PNP. We don't need any opposition. Remember, Auntie Dana did tell us that the country go back way down the hill so we can't bother change Andrew now. Going backwards down the hill, Auntie Dana, certainly is our direction. Backwards down the hill. We see Andrew Holness dictatorial behavior. We saw what Andrew Holness did to us in the last 5 years when he had that majority in Parliament. How Andrew changed up our legislative framework. Andrew Holness do overnight legislation like how, you know, the Minister of Overnight Calculations and Legislation. Debbie want new name there on here, you know. Vaz have a new name now. Vaz new title is the Minister of Overnight Investigations and Calculation, or Minister of Overnight Calculation and Investigation. Because remember saying investigate but just thing overnight. When the JPS Galangin went count with buckle stop of the money where we get from the insurance, the World Bank, Darrell Vaz taking up Jamaica, ball out! Jamaica. Your 150 million where you pay insurance for. When Melissa just lick you down, Donald Trump and the United Nations and Andrew just create storm, lick we down and pay we back for the lick down. You know see to say, as the money come, Darrell Vaz take your 150 million US and lend one foreign company. JPS and a Jamaica company, you know. JPS at 20% Jamaica having the Japanese them have how much and whatsoever rather have how much. Ask Darrell Vaz, how coincident that at the same time when we get catastrophe ban payout, Darrell Vaz have 150 million. 150 million fill-in JPS. JPS, which is a foreign company. Look on what Jamaica people are go through. And we have money fill-in foreign people at the moment. Jamaica no see something wrong. What? No, see something wrong. We have 150 million US fill-in JPS. When the Prime Minister can only pluck up 2,500 container home out of the about 900 or how much 1,000 people were left homeless. But local government election are coming. And may I watch on. May I watch on. Coming was on disgraceful. Me know no worship politician and no love on a belly. So me I watch on. Come know when get the red, the orange t-shirt with the little money wrap up in there and the green t-shirt with the little money wrap up in there. The whole on will forget on this chest. The whole on will forget on distress and will campaign and celebrate them and go right back into the distress, go put on a hand on a draw and sit down because I don't want nothing. Land reform. Land reform ought to be the central conversation for Westmoreland people in particular and Trelawney people and a lot of St. James people. We fit up them for do the election, not tap them. So we did have election couple day after burial. Our schools will be up and running where they are going to use the polling station. Nothing won't stop them from having an election. It is not where country isn't going to a breakdown. A 16 of the constituency of the 63 badly affected. So the government can go postpone election February because of this. Why not? Listen, there isn't anything. Please, globalists and Jamaica people, do not fool on yourself like we're going to get no help from the government. We're not happy. Are we going to have to rise and shine and draw ourselves out of the dark hole little? We're not happy. Tap one like we're going to get no help from government. We never get no help in a Gilbert. We never get no help in a Dean. We never get no help in a Ivan. We never get no help in a Beryl. So not happy. Local government election isn't for 2 years. No man, every 2 year local government election happening in Jamaica also. Local government election is every 2 years, is it not? And also go. I'm sure local government in Jamaica is every 2 years. He will not postpone it. They are working on it. Yeah, election in Jamaica is every local government election is every 2 years. General election is every 4 to 5 years. So because our last local government election was February 2024, then the next local government election ought to be next year, February. And may I watch you because we go run up and down for these people where we don't see these councillors. I hope these councillors are absent. Whole heap of these councillors are absent, but they will be coming to campaign by January, February. The whole fleet of them will be around you from central and local government. All of these resources that is coming into the country that the government is denying you of now is going to use to buy vote from you. Remember a lot of the things that you should have gotten in Melissa. No, Melissa old mama. Remember some of the things them should have get in a burial. The Prime Minister and him people them wait until closer to the election before they carry Congo. All the rather fertilizer and seed them with fly green there walk and buy pussy and vote with. They were things that the Moroccan government, and if Morocco government, I wonder if the Morocco government sent nothing this time. Because remember after burial, the Moroccan kingdom sent fertilizer with fly green a sell, fly green by pussy with. Just before the general election, trucks after trucks of fertilizer unload a fly green yard on Crane Road, just down the road from Party where we live, because we and Fly Green live on the same stretch of beach. One eye house, not in live there. One eye house where in chill out sometime. And those fertilizer were used to buy vote. These people who got the fertilizer don't even run farm, don't even in a farming. All fishermen. All fishermen fly green and give fertilizer to. So me I sit down and watch on Jamaica. If Melissa go teach on nothing, so the councillor won't never see. In my community, my cousin who went up to Derek Sangster, went up against Derek Sangster, and my very community, my family member, voted against him. I want to beg them, say, we're not going to vote for him, but just don't vote against him. He's the one who have to stand up representing the community at the moment and the division. Because Derek Sangster dead. 2 weeks after the storm, if me never go up on Facebook, go announce Derek Sangster dead, Derek Sangster wouldn't turn up a party. Derek Sangster, we got a 50-year history in a party. You understand? So me I watch the whole on. And this is why sometimes on a sufferation is justified. Because on create it. On call it down upon yourself. Because when we did tell us Andrew Holness and Fly Green and the labor right, them a demon, we no cuss we off and no tell we all sort. Look upon what them a do you know. Look upon what them a do. Southwest St. Elizabeth was given up as a sacrifice to create new city and South Coast tourism. Do not have a representative at the moment. Fly Green is catering to his agricultural portfolio. Fly Green cannot meaningfully represent his constituency. He's in the cabinet. Him can't have a different view from Andrew Holness. What Andrew Holness says go. What Andrew Holness say them believe, and them have to sing that note to whoever them talk to. We're not being represented. Don't even talk about the opposition. I mean, you're going to have to catch them up. You're going to have to line them spine with iron, and you're going to have to catch them up, catch them up under their arms so they can turn up straight. Because if you let them go, then just wobble and go down to dot, so like when Juliet says sit down and then sit down. But still Jamaica people don't see the need for revolution. Still Jamaica people don't see the need for nationalism. Because the JLP and PNP has never worked, will never work. JLP and PNP has never worked. They will never work. Because we, the people who they are meant to serve, are too divided for their own political purpose. Nationalism, though, nationalism is our political purpose, but we're not interested in that. Well, the Americans, them are grown Floyd Green for take over for Andrew Holness, so just one criminal go replace the other, you know? And like a whole Floyd Green, him so horny. He may just use the country by front like on use a COVID laptop and all sort to buy front fertilizer, to buy vote on front. I wonder if Floyd Green are going to buy out a burial. Floyd Green, out of Melissa. I wonder where I go buy out of Melissa. But serve the people of Jamaica right, because we don't want better. Do we look like people who want better to you? When we protect the people who steal from us, when we protect the people who import guns into the country that kills off a lot of us, when we support the same people who are involved in human trafficking, organ trafficking, the trafficking of drugs and illegal weapons, and sometimes you all want to quarrel with us to call them honorable. You see? We don't quarrel with us to call them honorable. If our country has honorable politicians, we would be some way forward and not backwards. The hurricane relief in Haiti, half controlled by gang, is run better than a democratic so-called government that we operate in our country. A government every time them come to the bully podium, them throw word at we. The blatant inability of this government to answer a question is the biggest crisis we're experiencing in our country, where the people who we entrust with the administration of our country is unable to communicate. And you think you can run an organization with that non-existent in communication, or the total detachment from society and humanity? You really think so? But then again, if they are in control of a country full of fools, because that's what we are, one must admit, don't expect them to be excellent, because they're dealing with fools. And when you're dealing with fools, your work shouldn't be too hard, because a fool will believe anything you tell them. And this is what our politicians regularly do to us. When will Jamaica have national pride? We think we have national pride, you know. We don't have national pride. We just bossy and loud and bullshitish. Jamaica. We just bossy, loud, bullshitish, and dunce. Dunce. Because if we were people who read and have the ability to think, I mean, our government for the last 5 decades couldn't be coming to us with the same promises over and over. And we believe them. They have not delivered. And we voted for it. And we believe them. And we voted for it. We are fools. Don't expect them to treat us as sensible people when we are fools. If you are a fool, you're going to be treated as a fool. So if you want better from your politician, them stop act like a damn hungry belly idiot, Jamaica people. Stop acting so hungry. Bear the hungry. Bear the hunger, Jamaica. Bear the hunger for the day when them come. Bear the hunger for the few weeks of the election campaign because you go hungry throughout the rest of the year. So what's the difference in the 2 week? What's the difference in the 2 week when you sell yourself short? Little food were done before the election. Money were done before the election. And you still sell. You still want to end up in a now? Mr. If you still want to end up in a now, look what happened to you now. Look what Labour writer do to you now and PNP silent about it. Look how Andrew Holness a kill we off. Look how Andrew Holness a starve we. Look how Andrew Holness left with homeless. Look how Andrew Holness left with an infestation. And PNP silent. I-L-E-N-T. Silent. Not a word. That's when Juliet tell them, say, sit down. Then John cheer. Nobody don't know how to throw a rebellion anymore. Nobody know how to throw a rebellion anymore. Everybody just uptone and orderly. So when me cuss too bad and carry on them say, oh, listen to that hooligan. There's hooligan in church and hooligan in parliament. Even though those are two of the most honorable people in our society. The Karine, how you do? Those in parliament and those in church. We don't honor them. Greetings. I want to ask a question about JPS. Ask the government for an extension in order to retain their own financing, but the advance offered JPS a loan of 150 million US dollars, the same amount we get for the catastrophe ban. That confused me, Karine. The same money. If VAS extend JPS license, and that would allow JPS to secure the loan, we would have saved with 150 US. We would have saved the 150,000 US to get along with the recovery and the rebuilding. But when we take up in this worst time we ever have, we have 150 million US to lend a foreign entity. JPS is not a Jamaica entity. It's a foreign entity. The Jamaica government will go on 20% in a JPS. And our government can have 150 million US dollar, the same amount we get for the catastrophe ban, you know. The government have a lend to JPS when the government couldn't extend JPS license, make JPS go walk and borrow, go back road, prostitute themselves, or anything JPS have to do to come up with the money. But Darrell Valls said, no, don't worry. Do you know that in a war zone, in time of war, the biggest money laundering carry on? Do you know that Jamaica is a war zone? And do you know that money laundering is one of the main things that goes on in a war zone? So I hope you understand these figures flashing here and there. And so they know some people like me, Dunce, even Dunce and Darrell. Darrell can manage to count with back stop and me would I get confused. But these whole heap of figures flashing left and right cross on the face. A whole heap of money laundering are going on, you know. A whole heap of drugs and weapon and move up and down right here, we know Jamaica people. We don't get it twisted like say war is the recovery effort has been prioritized at the moment. What is prioritized is the dark world bringing in their contrabands in our country, whether it's dark world from private people or from the government. A whole heap of that are going in our country. If Dr. Chang can bring in AK-47 by the container in a normal times, ask yourself what Dr. Chang are bringing into the country now. That know the one know from Dr. Chang. Hmm? How much container of weapons have you brought into the country? Darrell Vaz, the 440-foot container of spoiled food, the weeble rice, cornmeal flour, and sugar were rat cockroach and everybody piss pan. Darrell Vaz, you find the container them yet because overnight Darrell Vaz, you could have investigated and know when you take out a Buju Galang in overnight you calculate and get the JPS money right, Darrell Vaz. The container them gone missing long time now. Where the container them big, where they have to pass camera or somebody eye. The container them big, where they not under something a high, then there's somewhere in a Jamaica, Darrell Vaz. Can you do an overnight investigation and make we know? How the container them just get up and walk off so they open spoil food and who open shop, who open supermarket, who open hardware and electronic store, Darrell Vaz. Because we know say only pan go open business out of Melissa, you know. You see, just like how Dr. Tufton in a COVID, they just a walk and a give out contract. So you get a oh, don't worry about paperwork or signing anything, man. You get a contract here, you money laundering. COVID was a biological warfare. There's many different ways of fighting a war. War is not about pointing a gun at you. War is not about pointing a gun at you. You have chemical warfare, biological warfare, environmental warfare, conventional warfare, psychological warfare, spiritual warfare. Warfare comes in many different levels, Jamaica. Melissa wasn't just a storm. Melissa was also a spiritual warfare. If you talk about Jamaica people and the way them feel during and after the passage of Melissa, a part of Melissa was a spiritual. All right, me know say me mad. Me know me mad and me accept say me mad. And me know no go understand one would have called the dopey part. He's gone into the dopey world, you know. Some of them may not understand. A part of Melissa was spiritual warfare. And I just so. A whole heap of different way war fight. So you don't sit down and think to say, and when somebody drop bomb on your country, a person assault your country. No, that's just one of the way. That's just one of the way when they want to drive fear into other people. Them do it blase like how you that's then take down Saddam and Gaddafi and those people. But there are multi ways to do this thing. Remember when they want to exercise their global control, they cast a biological warfare. And they implement their rules after them create their biological. A war is fought in many different ways and many different levels. And that's why some of you will become victim, because when a war is being waged, just like immediately when COVID starts, we tell people, I will not comply with any of this fuckery because I know exactly what is going on. Because I read the Milgram experiment years before COVID. So it was plain to see what was happening. And today, it turned out it was nothing. It was all engineered. But when you sit down all the while and believe in a politician and religious leaders, this is where Jamaica has lost its way. Jamaica is too invested in politics and religion. They say, hey, he gone mad again. Jesus, hold him up here. He gone mad again. Yes, you all are too invested in the worst bullshit we've ever been thought. Political tribalism and religious denomination. Yes, I said it. political tribalism and religious denomination, those bullshit, like literally what they are, bullshit. Until we get rid of those type of teaching and those mindset, we're doomed for failure. You know, Bingy went to hell headway, dead. We will be going there alive. We will be going to hell headway. And believe you me, we have a prime minister to guide us along the journey. But if you don't wake up, Jamaica, you stand to lose everything. You saw the prime minister went on the world stage after he sacrificed you, and he says, all fruits ripe. Shake the grape tree, he says. A grape is there for you and me, not for the Jamaica people, may I add. For the prime minister and his multinational corporation and private international investors. All fruits ripe. The Caribbean season, the prime minister says, is ripe for investment. The prime minister didn't tell them of his people who are there hunger, thirsty, and sleeping in the elements. Come along, says the prime minister. We have enough space to carve up and give you a piece. Because as per the SDG Smart City, we, said the prime minister, have just done some land clearing in Jamaica. Not so successful though, Andrew Holness. Parati, though crumbled and battered, we, prime minister, are still standing. Unite Jamaica, or you all will perish. Unite Jamaica, or you all will perish. Thank you very much for being here with us this evening on the Global TV Group. Lovely to have your support as always. If you have not yet hit the like button, please do so before you exit the program. Thank you very much. Wake up, Jamaica. Wake up. Time is against us. Why? You know, say, don't total believe in the Prince Charles version of the Bible, literally like that. But me understand Noah work, you know. We understand how hard Noah work was to convince, you know. And motherfuckers, you all still end up drowning because you didn't listen. I'm not going to make the same fuckery happen all over again. I'm not going, yeah. Anyway, globalists, thank you all. Really appreciate your support. Join us tomorrow morning as we continue the warfare against the government. Good night.
Too long in our little ghetto, run keep going on less process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So justify and I as a watching man around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Hey, oh, we gotta bust down Babylon walls. Prepare and read the way. Prepare and read the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down war and crime. Fight down. Listen, Rastafari. War and crime. And do that righteousness. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. Rastafari. And we love Jah. We love Jah. Jah Rastafari. We love Jah. Jah Rastafari. Preserve our people. Put time away again. Listen. Yeah. just a tie and I say watch him man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace, but we penalize. Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates, prepare every the way. Prepare every the way for Rastafari. Fight down, war and fight. Fight down, war and fight. Rastafari, war and fight. Too long in our little ghetto. Run, keep going on, let's process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So just a tie and I say watch him man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon walls. Prepare every the way. Prepare every the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down, war and cry. Fight down, me say Rastafari. War and cry and do the righteousness. And we love and we love Jaja. And we love Jaja. Rastafari, save all people. And we love Jaja. We love Jaja. We love Jaja. Rastafari, save all people. Put time away again. Listen, yeah. Just a tie and I say watch him man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace, but we penalize. Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare every the way. Prepare every the way for Rastafari. Fight down, war and fight. Fight down, war and fight. Rastafari, war and fight. And build up righteousness. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. Rastafari. We love all. And we love Jah. Me love Jah. Me love Jah. Rastafari, preserve all. Me love Jah.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.